And I'm just here with the team. So this is one of your NDIS homes.
Yes.
We just determined, what's the width on this?
I think it's approximately 18 metres.
So we're 18 metres wide. The difference here when we're looking at rooming houses will be you'll have post box out the front
Yes.
for individual units?
Yes.
Okay, great. I love this frontage.
It's pretty great frontage.
Can we get this frontage?
You can, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely try.
You're on the mic. Take us through.
So we're basically, this is a dual occupancy. So we've got one attached service villa, which is one bedroom with one carer, one participant bedroom, one carer, and then we've got a main home with two participant bedrooms and one carer. So they've got a private access to each of the dwellings. So if we walk through.
So if we did an NDIS, say we've got a client that's got an NDIS and we sent that to you, it is possible to do a dual occupancy NDIS property?
Absolutely. We have a couple in our master range of this type of setup, as we're finding it's becoming a lot more popular in the market. So we've continuing to develop that product. We've got one that fits on a 16 by 32 and we've just developed one that fits on a 14 by 32.
Wow, see that's the thing. So the opportunity is to do one or the other, but the same thing always applies. I have to speak to the SDAs to ensure that they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us through?
All right, so if we walk through here, we've got this side here is the attached villa. So we've got a carer facility with a carer bathroom straight through here. So typically this room would be used for their overnight care, desk, bed and their own bathroom facility. And they've got an intercom system on the walls as well, which is a requirement under the NDIS guidelines for high physical support.
So if this was a rooming house room, we would expect to have air conditioning unit, private electronic lock at the front door?
We can, yes. So in a rooming home, we would be providing a digital door lock.
Great, because I think that's vital.
Yep.
And some of the floor plans that we've been looking at for the rooming houses, we've got a division between the kitchen and living and the bedroom space as well.
Yep.
Own private bathrooms?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Own ensuites and place for their clothing. So either a built-in robe or a walk-in robe, depending on the design. It's a fully customisable specification, so as long as we have the minimum requirements to comply with the Class B dwelling, we can provide any upgrade. Fixed price full turnkey on greenfield.
Yeah.
On brownfield, we need to provide provisional sums for your site costs, just because we don't have all the information that a greenfield site would have. So typically what we would do is put an allowance for your site costs and your services. Once we have all of the engineering information and once we sort of go through the actual estimating of the project, we can then reconcile that sum. If it's less than the amount that we've quoted, you get the money back. If it's more, we charge the extra.
So how long's the permit on a rooming house?
Typically 3 months, so about a 12-week process to get your permits, provided that there's no complexity with the brownfield. So the biggest delay you might find is with your drainage design because of your discharge points outside. That's probably the biggest difficulty that we would face. In rooming homes, where I'm assuming we're not putting sprinkler systems in your rooming home design, so we avoid the sprinkler requirement for your tapping upgrade. So your PIC services, your water shouldn't be an issue. The other thing we need to look at is the power. So we just need to make sure that being in a brownfield, that sometimes the power, you may not have pits, so we need to make sure we have electrical pits rather than overhead power, make sure that it actually is enough amp to service the dwelling. So they're probably the only two things that I'd flag that may delay a site start while we work through fixing those services to make sure that they can suit the property we're building. We'll organise the utility connections. Obviously, to whatever the cost is for the upgrade goes back to the client, but we manage that entire process as part of the pre-site. So really the client doesn't really need to do anything. We will manage everything from end to end.
What about build time frame?
Build time frame, so for a property like this, an NDIS property, we would be expected about a 10-month build, but that's from site start to practical completion and handover. In a rooming home, we'd be looking at probably 8 to 9.
Okay.
Depending on the size.
Yeah, I was gonna, because we've just had a conversation outside about doing our 8. I'm wondering if your 8 is going to be about the same.
The 8 will probably be more of the 10-month build time frame. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we walk through the next part of the house, which is the main home with the 2-bedroom plus carer. Look, we're very passionate about the space, and we do like to show it off a little bit because it is something that we love to do, and we love to discuss it and talk about it. It's not something that every builder does, so we do feel a bit like it's a specialty field, and we feel like we're experts in it.
When we do rooming house, because this is a 1.2,
yes.
rooming house is 1.2 as well?
I think we're looking at doing 1260 minimum walkways.
Okay,
yeah.
Which is good.
As long as we've got the space for it, but I think we worked out that we can make that hallway width work.
Come on down and show everybody the kitchen. So this is yet to be done. Will your costings include landscaping?
Yes, so our product is full turnkey. So full fencing, full landscaping, blinds, flooring, driveways, concrete paving, everything. So it will be ready to move into.
Which is what we like, because here's the thing, when you purchase something like this, you need to know that everything's happening really quickly and that you're with a builder that you're confident in. But at the end of it, you're not having to worry about getting the garden, the fencing or anything else. You'll communicate with the neighbours, you'll get the fencing done.
Correct.
It's just perfection.
We do everything. We do the whole lot. I mean, we will obviously liaise with the client if there are any issues that need to be discussed, if there's problems with existing fencing or neighbour issues and whatnot, or if there's problems with the service connections, we'll obviously have that communication, but we run that process. It's a service that we offer. It makes sense for us to do it because it makes it a little bit more efficient in the process. We don't have to rely on the client to have to talk about something that they may not understand when we're experts in it and we deal with this every day.
How are you communicating with the client after, so you finish, everything's come to council, you start the build, are they getting updates from you weekly or monthly? How does that internal process work with you?
We will do a fortnightly update. Okay. So we will provide just some fortnightly photos that get taken by the construction team, just comes on a PDF document, sort of a manual reporting. We'll send out an email with some photos and just a rough estimate what the current stage is, when that current stage is expected to complete, and then when the next stage is due. So we will provide that every fortnight, but the portal in the next, I'd say 6 months, that portal will be up and running and they can log into that portal and know exactly where their property's up to and look at the photos and ask whatever questions they need to ask.
That's a really good idea. So they'll have, is there an aftercare person that's in charge of that service afterwards? So who will they go to? Will there be, you'll get their email updates, but would they report back to that person that sends them the email?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
so we're full end-to-end. We're a team that's growing. So at the moment we've got myself as the manager of the team and another project coordinator. We're bringing on another administrator so they can also, as we grow, we've got more points of contact, but they will be end-to-end. So you won't be dealing with 15 different people if you have a question. You will have one point of contact that you can go to. In Flora's case, it's exactly the same. You don't have multiple BDMs. You have direct lines of communication. We will always return a phone call and an email within 24 hours. It's something that we pride ourselves on. It's really important that we continue that client base and keep that client communication clear.
I've got to say to you, not a word of a lie, I am so happy about this relationship because I love the fact that when I call either of you two, you ring me back.
Yeah.
Because it means that we're all working together to ensure that we're taking care of our clients. I'm not waiting days for a return phone call from them.
No, it will never happen. It will never happen with us. It's whether we have 10 jobs, whether we have 1,000 jobs. For us, it's very, very important that every client, every project is treated, as I said before, like it's our own and how we would want to be treated. So even if we don't have the answer straight away, to at least say, we'll come back to you, we're onto it, and then at least you know that your email's been seen and we notify you that we're onto it.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.